after you have to recall theory sessions where we have followed the algorithm of the flowchart. So my current window is showing flowchart, then same assumed example which we have considered. Here additional parameters are there 4 and 5. So yeah, just ignore later. I'm going to add it in our input also. So don't worry about it. If you are going to give multiple calls, so these variables can be utilized. That's the difference. Okay. And to start the implementation, you should know what are the databases required for pass1 processing. So macro name table, argument list array, and macro definition table. These three tables we will require. And then if you look at the flow chart, I'll just quickly tell you, I have already taught this in theory sessions. So quickly I'll tell you or discuss this flow chart so you'll be able to recall it. Okay. So very first step is you have to initialize your definition table counter and name table counter to 0 or 1. So here I am keeping it 0 because all the tables we are going to implement either as a linked list or array list or a class object list. So list always means that list lower boundary starts with 0th index. So we can start from 0. Okay, implementation level difference. Then you will be reading your next once your initialization is done. Next is your reading the input file. So see here my red color small rectangle is helping you to read the line by line code. Input.asm where this red color rectangle will highlight which line you are going to fetch currently. So suppose this is first line. I'm setting it to first line. Then after I'm keeping watch, my line is having macro keyword. So if yes, we have to process the macro definition because macro keyword specifies immediate next line onwards your definition exists. What if it is not matching with macro keyword? So then you are going to write that line to output file. As well you are keeping watch on end pseudocode. If end is reached, complete processing is done. So you may stop. But if current line is not having end pseudocode, you'll go back to read the next line and you will start the processing again. So next line again, it is not a macro keyword, so you'll be repeating this path, horizontal path. Okay. But if macro keyword found, you have to repeat the vertical path. So here in this vertical path, if you look at your input file, right from the next line, as soon as keyword found, macro keyword found, these are the lines all get processed in this vertical path till you reach to MN. Remember that. Okay. So definition will be stored. MNT and ALA table will be updated here on this vertical path. So as soon as you got the macro keyword, your job is read the next line immediately. This my rectangle, red rectangle is helping you to trace it out. Next line you have fetched. So this line is giving you macro name as well as the argument list. So this line helps you to update name table and the argument list array. Okay. So I'm going to read this line, split it on space basis. First word is giving me macro name. So look at here in macro name table. I'll just change the color so that you'll be able to understand. So purple color text you have to consider right now. Okay. I think there is some trouble in this. Let me check. Yeah. So this purple color area is helping you to identify your macro name. You are reading from input file and adding here. And the current value of definition table counter index, which is 0. So I'm setting it to 0. And then name table counter is increased by 1. So it will point to next location. So next you are going to add the data. So after that, rest half of the current line is giving you arguments, list of arguments separated by comma. So split this word again comma basis and extract one word. So first, second, third if it is. Likewise at one location you will be adding these names or the arguments in a argument list array index. Okay. So formal arguments are available in your definition that we are going to add over here. And this second field will be updated in pass2 only. Remember it. Right now it will be blank. I had explained same example with pass1 and pass2, so entries are there. Then after you are going to write this line as it is to your definition table. Look at here in MDT. Same line I have written to MDT table. Okay, you can take this green arrow, which will help you to track that. So if you notice here, same line is written as it is. After that, you have to fetch the next line and check any of the argument. So I have highlighted argument first. Any of this field is exist in ALA? If yes, replace it by its index, ALA index. So right now first is available at 0th index, second argument is available at first index. So while writing this current line A1 comma hash first and first to your MDT table, replace the name of your symbol by the hash index. Hash represent argument list array and the 0 indicates 0th entry in a argument list array. So this will be the link between them. Okay. And then again check whether your current line is having amend. No. So repeat the step. Again you will be reading next line. Substitute the argument hash index, write it to MDT, check with amend. So this will be repeated till you reach to amend. जैसे ही आप amend पे आते हो, write amend and then stop the processing. Look at here. Here we are testing amend pseudocode reach. If yes, see follow the path with my blue ellipse. It is going back to read next line. So right from getting macro keyword till you get amend, you are basically present here in this portion. These are the steps that you are going to execute. Fine. And then again, if you reach to the start location, you have to repeat entire process. Is macro keyword found? If yes, process the definition. If no, write the line to output file. So write line to output file means I'm going to write here in this red color text is writing my lines to output file. So this is what I have explained. Design is very clear. It's in front of you. You just have to write the programming statement so your machine will do the same job for you. Okay. So we have to implement this assignment in a Java. I have already written. It is well tested and executed. I'll just explain the code and I'll share that code with you guys. And you are expected to execute at your end and try to write again. Okay. So your confidence will be increased. So before proceeding towards implementation, very first requirement is, sorry, your input file should be ready. So in a Java, Eclipse or NetBeans, create a Java project. Create a new project in which you can add your source file input.asm. Okay. Then you will create your original program file, anyone, pass1, macro pass1 java, macro Java, whatever name you would like to give. I have given macro P1, pass1. Fine. After that, I have to store macro name in a name table, argument list array in argument list table, and the definition in a definition table. So before processing, you have to keep this ready with you. So I'm showing both the way how you can create the table. Either you can use all the classes. So MNT I'm using class MNT, where we have to keep. Look at the design again. MNT is going to take 3 fields. Index, name of a macro and the MDT index. So in a program, here if you observe, here I am keeping macro name is a string type of data type because you are going to keep string over there. And the index is an integer variable MDT index. Now you may say, ma'am, why you are taking only 2 fields? So look at the example again. So this field is basically an index we are keeping manually for our reference. But when I'm going to create array of objects, it going to maintain that index on its own. List index is maintained. So you don't have to do it explicitly. करना है तो कर सकते हो, but that will be a wastage. So here I'm keeping only 2 fields, name of a macro and the index of a definition table. So this constructor will help you to set the values to these variables whenever you create a new object. That's it. And then when you start processing with a macro processor, I have instantiated this MNT. Look at here, my MNT class. I am creating the object of a list class. So it is a template. So here I am passing information. What type of node you are creating? So list will be having a node of class object MNT, which will be having these 2 fields. And the name is given to that object is MNT. Okay. Now let's go back to this example. if you observe here again, see here only textual information is available, alphanumeric information. So it can be stored as a string. For that reason, again I am creating a list class object, but this time it is going to create one string in a node. In this case, what will happen? MNT, this list node will be having two fields. First is your name of a macro, second is the index, and third will be a link to next node. But in case of MDT, you don't require anything. So string class object will be enough. So list is instantiated as a string class object. Then MDT, MNTC are integer object. And ALA also we can keep as a string. So here I'm keeping in pass1 only these two fields are expected. So list is itself iterating from 0 to n. So no need to keep separate index. But you have to store formal arguments. And these are of string type. So that's the reason in a code I'm instantiating an object of a list whose name is ALA. It is going to store one string at a time in each node. Fine. Next question is how to read this input file. So when we had discussed assembler pass1 and pass2, you are aware how to read the Java file or any other file in Java. So here I'm using scanner object again. Okay, so scanner class object created. And then in a main method, I'll just reduce little bit font for your understanding. Okay. And if you pay attention, now it's really very simple assignment. Okay. Partially you're already aware how to read the files and all. So in the main method, it throws the exception as you're going to handle scanner object. I'm creating a class object for this macro pass1 class. And using this object, I'm calling init method. So init method is just going to initialize your objects, whatever we have created. So let me take you on that init method. See here. So MNT is a list class object, right? It is instantiated as a, or object is initialized as a linked list. Then MDT you can use linked list or array list. Just to understanding, I am creating both separately, but linked list we use kar sakte ho. AL is also used as a linked list only. So here actually memory will be allocated. At the initial stage, only object creation were there. But memory allocation is done over here, and then only you will be able to store the entries in these tables. And these two are initialized to 0 for your reference. Okay. Do not use this. It was used, but now I have skipped that part. No need of it. Hash index. After initialization, your control goes back to your init calling location and continue with the next line. So this is a return address of your init method, where you are going to open your input.asm file with a file handle f, and that f I am going to pass to scanner object, where the scanner is created here. So the scanner object is helping you to call or particular methods or access the variables defined here. And if you remember, see here, if your current line is not having macro keyword, you have to write data to output file. Pass1 ka output hai. So how you will write? For that you have to create a file, right? So see here in Java you have to use print writer class object OP, which will be instantiated as a file output stream because you're going to write something in an output file, right? So write mode में आपका op.txt open होगा. So my output file name is op.txt. After that, I'm reading one line at a time if further lines are exist. So next line है तो ही आप एक line read करोगे. So what is the line meaning of this line? Whatever you are reading from your input file, see here. My rectangle is highlighting. If I'm going to read this first line macro, so this macro will be stored in a string line variable, this variable. Then I'm comparing whether that line is equal to macro keyword. So yes, it is a macro keyword. For the example, we are going to follow this example simultaneously. So my rectangle is highlighting current line which we have fetched. So that is matching with macro keyword. See here. So आप क्या करोगे? Macro keyword मिला means your definition of macro found. So you have to process that definition by updating MNT table, ALA table as well as MDT table. So I have written it in a module, separate function, process definition. So P1 is the object of current class. See here it is created. The definition means I'm calling that process definition with her input line given by this variable. Okay. अगर macro keyword नहीं है current line पे, so what you are supposed to do? Simply write line to output file. So if you notice here, print writer object का नाम क्या है? OP. So that print writer object dot println. So println by default, out.println by default write to output device, that is screen, monitor screen. But here OP is pointing to your file, op.txt. So there I'm going to write the line and the current buffer is flushed out so that you can fetch next line here. So this will be continue till you reach to either end pseudocode or you are having non-macro line. Okay, I hope up to this you have got the idea. But here, fortunately, we are having macro keyword match found for the first line in the program. So we are going to process the definition. So my input line macro is passed to process the definition. So let me take you on process definition. So that will be stored in a string S. So if you recall the theory, as soon as you got the macro keyword, what is our next job? Read immediately next line. So in a program, I'm reading the next line immediately. See here. आपके इनपुट लाइन में अभी क्या है? मैक्रो कीवर्ड है. बाद में ही मैंने इमीडिएट नेक्स्ट लाइन पिक किया है, रीड किया है. And that line I am splitting based on spaces. So my line is available in variable L, string type of variable L. So string type dot split on space basis. So my input line, see here, immediate next lines मतलब ये वाला line जो split होगा आपका space basis पे. So आपको पहले increase मिलेगा and then second word आएगा आपका comma separated argument list. Okay. So very first आपको जो word मिल रहा है that is your macro name which we are supposed to add in a macro name table. So यहाँ पे वो name add हो जाएगा. And the same time whatever the MDT index is will be added in a next line, next column in this table. So let's see how it is done in a program. So this input line is splitted on space basis, store it in a TK array. So TK of 0 में आपको क्या मिल रहा है? It's a name of a macro and TK of an argument list है. So very first आपको name table update करना है. So I'm using this MNT object which we have created at initial stage. This one. So this MNT is a linked list. So that linked list you have to use and update your name table. So list dot add method I'm calling. Add method is inbuilt in a list class, which will be taking argument. So see here, it is the object of macro name table class. So that's why I'm adding here new name of a class. And when we call it, it takes two arguments, right? Constructor takes two arguments. So name of a macro is in this variable tk of 0 and the value of current mdtc variable. So MNT में आपकी first entry add हो गई. So if you look at theoretically or graphically, see here MNTC 0 पे आपको मिला increase, increment and the value is 0. Okay, this is what done. Then rest half जो है आपको comma basis पे split करना है. So let's see what we have done. After that MNTC is updated, this is just a manual updation. Huh? Then I'm creating argument list array by splitting the first word of a token array. Split it on comma basis. Now look at here. Initially we were splitting on space basis. Now we have split it on comma. So सारे comma separated argument separate out हो गए and keep them in argument array, string type of argument array. And this we are going to add in ALA one by one. ये ALA में एक एक entry add करनी है. So what you will do? Loop for loop I is equal to 0 to this argument array dot length. इसमें कितने elements आएंगे? 2, 4, 10. You don't know. So take the length of that variable. And then ALA index dot add that argument, individual argument. So ये एक एक जो argument है, first, second, they'll be added individually and it will look like this, something like this. ALA highlight किया है मैंने grey color में. So your ALA will look like this. Okay. And then after that write the current line as it is to MDT. See first macro के बाद जो भी next line मिल रहा है उसमें से name table update किया, argument list array update किया, write that line to output file and then MDTC is updated. Okay. And now you have to keep a watch on end until you reach to macro end. You have to update that lines and add them in a MDT table. So up to this, do you have any question? Please let me know. Meanwhile, I'll take a water. Just have a look at your flow chart. Up to this, what I have explained is here. इतना वाला पार्ट मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया है, हॉरिजॉन्टल पार्ट भी एक्सप्लेन हुआ है, वर्टिकल भी. So do you have any question related to this? Please put up. Everyone is able to understand? Yes or no? Let me see how many participants are there.
Yes, ma'am.
45. Great. Okay, so I expect all 45 students are connected and tuned with the session. So I'll just take you back and explain again what I had explained. Created the name table class, instantiated it as a list object, list of class object, list of string for ALA. Initialize them with the new operator, allocate the memory using init method. Open your input file, be able to read it. Use file to write the output using print writer object. Scan one line from your input file and keep a watch on each line whether it is matching with this keyword. If macro keyword found, definition process करना. So definition process means what? You are going to pick the next line, immediate next line, split it, extract the name of a macro and the arguments, put them in a relevant table. MNT and ALA में आप update कर रहे हो. Then you are adding current line as it is to MDT table and increase definition table counter. So hope everyone have understood up to this. Next क्या करना है? So come back to this. Next you are going to fetch a immediate next line and here onward till you reach to MN keyword आपका एक एक line definition table में ही जाने वाला है. Further you are not going to update ALA or MNT. सिर्फ आपका just a minute. Only you are going to update your definition table. So here onward your all updates will be made in a definition table. यहाँ से आगे आपका end होगा. तो आपने first line लिख दिया. Here onward you are going to update. So you are fetching the next line and searching your argument one and first separate these comma based entities and look up your ALA table. If any match found, so see here I can show first is matching with the first entry of ALA. Means index substitution is required. So ये जो है आपको ये हटाना है and you are going to write against this as a hash and the index matched in a ALA. Okay, and why we are doing this? Hash index can be replaced by its actual argument in future. Past में वो replace होगा. So this is just up to you. If now this is the design I'm explaining based on IBM machine. But if you wanna instead of keeping hash 0, if you wanna keep this line as it is, अभी search करो या बाद में search करो, search तो करना ही है आपको. Whenever you wanna replace with actual argument, तो आप क्या करोगे? यहाँ से first उठा के या compare करोगे and जो भी actual argument है, you will be put up. You are going to put up. अगर हमने उसको हैश 0 से रिप्लेस किया है तो क्या होगा? आपको सर्चिंग करने की जरूरत नहीं है पास्ट में. यू विल डायरेक्टली फेच द इंडेक्स नंबर, set your pointer there and fetch the third column value for substitution. So either of case you have to anyhow search ALA one time and accordingly take the decision. So whatever comfortable for you, you can use that. That is a implementation level difference. And once you have added the line, you are going to compare with amend. See here. ये वाला पार्ट amend से compare करोगे. अगर हमें नहीं मिला है तो आप इसी लूप में रिपीट घूमोगे. सी यू आर फेचिंग द नेक्स्ट लाइन, सब्स्टिट्यूट द इंडेक्स, राइट टू एमडीटी अपडेट करो, again amend पे check करो. So this loop, whatever I am showing right now, I don't know it is visible at your end or not. Red color rectangle is showing the path. This loop we are going to repeat here. Okay. So just hope so you are connected and it's visible at your end. So this big rectangle is going to tell you the path which we are repeatedly executing for all the lines till you reach to MN. And once you reach to MN, what you are supposed to do? That path will take you back to the start location. So if MN pseudocode is found, you have to take that path here back to starting location. You'll be going to starting location. And then repeat all the steps as it is. So how this is coded? Let's see. So we were here. Now I have to repeat some loop till you reach to MN. So here I am keeping that. If my current line, जो भी हमने read किया है, not equals to MN, I am going to repeat the steps. If it is equal to MN, we have to stop. So current line जो आपने fetch की है, that output line you have to read, okay, and look up for the index, hash index. If it is found, means some symbol exists. That symbol you have to search in a ALA, okay. So here I have used different mechanism. If index of ampersand and is exist, means only keyword based argument, positional arguments we are handling. अगर एंड के ट्रेसेस है तो ही आपको सिंबल सब्स्टिट्यूशन, इंडेक्स सब्स्टिट्यूशन की जरूरत है, अदरवाइज नो. सो इफ कंडीशन इज ट्रू, what I am doing, I am extracting the index key where and found, ampersand found in my input file. So अगर यहाँ पे मिलता है, it will return its index. So if this is your complete line, so this is first character, second is space, third is your 1, fourth is comma, and fifth is ampersand. So 0 से लेके scale पे देखोगे तो fourth index value is 4, which will be returned in your program. Okay. After that, I'm splitting that line in a words. So आपका A separate हो जाएगा, comma separated entity separate. Further, I'm going to separate it on comma basis. So again, if I take you here, first this line will be broken based on your space. Okay. So two separate words. This A as a first word and this entire is as a second word. So second word आपको फिर से comma spaces पे split करना है. So one separate out हो जाएगा, first separate out हो जाएगा. And now you can have a lookup of this second argument in a ALA. So go back. That is what I have done here, splitting. So word, you got the word over here. And that words you are going to use. So simultaneously you have to keep a line which is ready to write in your MDT table. So if you look at the example, see here in MDT table, what we need is your first mnemonic is as it is, argument is as it is, सिर्फ first की जगह आपको #0 डालना है. So that provision I'm doing. So word 0 is your mnemonic added as it is, space manually added, argument 0 is first register number, okay. And then see here, while I less than argument length, you have to check it out whether any argument exists or not, and their index you have to substitute over there. So argument dot length you are going to check if I is less than argument dot length. While I is less than argument length, तब तक आपको एक element check करना है. So observe I start with ampersand है तो yes, you are going to check ALA dot index of that element. What I am doing is here. ALA में आपका first symbol stored है, right? Look at here, first and second is available. So I am comparing my input trace of variable first with a ALA entries. So direct lookup हो जाता है, index return करता है because ALA is implemented as a linked list. So what I am doing is search query is my variable name, symbol name itself, that is first. So if it is found, वो उसका index return कर देता है, index of that location. So 0 return हो जाएगा. So that's the advantage of using this high-level language. Ready-made functions you can use. So ALA is a argument list array, linked list है आपकी. Dot index of किसकी index ढूंढ रहे हो? जो symbol है आपने भेजा है. Right now it is let's say and first. Next time कुछ भी हो सकता है. So you will get the index, and that index you have to add as a hash. So see, a partial output line is created here on this line. Mnemonic space first argument as it is. Okay. So what you are supposed to do? Comma hash and the index number which we have retrieved here. So here. So if I take you here, look at this portion. Hash index मिल गया आपको, hash 0. And now we are ready to write that output line in a MDT table. So MDT.add and send that string. Your update list will be updated. MDT list will be updated. And if no element found, so आपके original line here output line में as it is लिखनी है. If there is no index substitution required, so this else part is executed. So what else part is doing? जो भी input line है वो as it is आपको MDT में लिखनी है. So I'm writing MDT.add OP line, output line basically. Output line either of ARIA. If you are having any argument, see ampersand है, so it is coming with some hash index. Otherwise it is coming your normal input line. So either of path, if or else path, कोई भी path आपने visit किया है, output line में कुछ तो data है, that I am going to write to my MDT table. And then MDTC updated. And how many times you are going to repeat? Till you get the amend keyword. So if you look at your flow chart, this is what we have coded right now. Read, substitute the index, write that line to MDT, MDTC updated, keep watch on amend, amend nahi hai, so repeat this blue color circle path. ये वाला loop repeatedly execute होगा till you reach to amend. So if you go back to your code, I am keeping watch on my end. So this while loop is ended here whenever you get the end. So up to this we have completed, and then your end method definition method है. So control goes back to the location where call were made. यहाँ पे control back आ जाएगा आपका. And after that you are going to fetch the next line input file से and वापिस entire code repeat होगा. So this is your, if you look at if amend found here and you are going to follow this true path, yes. So control goes back to first loop where you were reading new line, and again you are going to repeat all those steps. So further definition of macro found, again you will repeat, update your all the tables and continue. And if your macro name not found, so by default we have to write line to output file. तो वो ही रहा है आपके प्रोग्राम में. So this is how your macro pass one is done. Simple है, right? Compared to assembler. And just for your understanding, after ending the call, see here, end of while means entire file is processed. So आपका काम खत्म, pass one खत्म, pass two को start करना है. So just to make sure that all the tables are having correct entries, I request you to display ALA, MNT and MDT table entries. So show ALA, show MNT, show MDT functions are written और उनको call दिया है. And what these are doing? These are just linked list or array list, no? So simply iterator you can use. ALA create करो, string L and keep printing that L. क्योंकि आपकी लिस्ट में जो एलिमेंट है वो स्ट्रिंग टाइप का ही है, so you can easily print it out. Similarly, you can easily print your MDT also. जो भी है वो आपका स्ट्रिंग में ही है. So read the string, display the string. But the difference is that MNT. MNT में आपने क्या डाला है? Object of a class डाला है ना. So whenever you will extract the value with this iterator, L will be a object. तो आप object print करोगे तो आपको reference मिलेगा, एक number मिलेगा. Memory location you can say. But we want values. So if you print it like this, length, L is a element, dot macro name, dot index. So you'll be printing specific values and keep increasing I. So till you are having values in MNT, ALA, MDT, one by one line get printed. And this is how your macro pass 1 is completed. So if you want me to show the results, I'm going to share this macro 2021 pass 1 file where source code is also exists. So this is the ready project which you can execute. Here I'm in college right now, and on this machine I don't have any Eclipse, NetBeans or JDK installed. And the machine is very slow, so it's not supporting installation right now. So I cannot show execution right now. But I have already executed on my machine, so I will be able to show the results to you. So what will be returned in your output file? MNT, MDT and ALA files are available, but I have not written them in text file. So console में ही दिखेगा आप जब execute करके देखोगे. So if you observe, आपका pass 1 का input क्या था? This entire program where macro definition exists, and this is the rest of the code, right? So output of pass 1 is helping you to remove the definition. I have tested it with 2 macro calls, and that's why extra entry is there. So please bear with that. So here my entire program is free from definition, but call exists. See, ये वाला call exists है, macro call. And macro call get processed in pass 2. So pass 1 output is free from definition, but it is having calls. And call will be removed in pass 2. So this is how I have implemented this flowchart, simple flowchart. And that helps you to implement macro processor pass 1, this complete thing. So if you have any questions, please let me know. So this is your 4th assignment. First one were DLL, second macro, assembler pass 1, third one assembler pass 2, and this is 4th one macro pass 1. And once you understand macro pass 1, macro pass 2 is easy to understand. Similar, half partial code तो same ही होगा आपका. So please let me know if you have any questions. I have completed explanation from my side. Code is available in front of you, which I have executed a number of times, and it is working perfectly fine. So this code I am going to share with you today, and you guys are supposed to execute it at your end. I have written it in Eclipse, and just make sure every line is clear to you. I have explained entire program line by line, so you should be able to do the same. You should know the meaning of that line. मैंने हर एक लाइन का मीनिंग आपको एग्जाम्पल के साथ प्रोग्राम में एंड डायग्राम में भी एक्सप्लेन किया है. So same is expected कि in the same way you should be able to tell during exams. So if you guys are having any questions, please let me know. You may go through this recording whenever you visit this program again and prepare for yourself. The recording will be helping you to recall the meaning of each and every line. Should I explain past two also? Because I have a time, and yesterday's session I can take it next in an hour if you want. Yes or no? लेना या overdose होगा, please let me know. Okay, I'll stop the